to OJ
Yeah.
Simpson passed away yesterday, and I think there is a TV connection here. I've told people this before, so speaking of speaking different languages, I lived overseas in Belgium from 1993 to 1995.
Oh,
That's
okay.
when I first studied French, studied it for 5 years, whatever. That's not important to this story. But living overseas in that time, I missed all of this, right? All of it. Pre-internet, no social media, right? We got European news, right? So every once in a while on CNN International, you got some OJ stuff over there. I often think about how I'm really sad that I missed this whole thing, right?
Yeah,
This was
man.
like this was monoculture before monoculture, right? I
You're,
mean, this
prac
was
you're practically not an American.
exactly because I didn't experience any of this. I came back in the
Uh,
summer of 1995, like a month before the verdict came down, and so didn't really see any of this whole thing. But I mean, this kind of reshaped how we looked at reality TV. I mean, how we looked at sort of our culture in terms of how we are immersed by and consume television. I mean, you had OJ Simpson, who was a star on screen. You had, I mean, would we know the names Jenner and Kardashian and all these other things that became part of television if not for this trial? I mean, it's just sort of this massive thing that still is influencing us.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in terms of the cultural experience, the first thing is the Bronco chase
Yes, of course.
because it took over TV. It was, I think, like the NBA finals were going on, and they put the NBA finals in a little box so that the
Yes.
Bronco chase was on a big box, and it went on
So
for quite a long time.
I'm very familiar with this because the 2 years I lived overseas, we've discussed how I live in Houston. The 2 years I lived overseas are the 2 years the Rockets won the world championship.
Right.
And so I'm very aware that this interrupted Rockets games to go to the Bronco chase. Game five, Friday night. I mean, the country watched the Bronco chase instead of the finals.
Well, and it was really bizarre because it's a slow speed chase.
Yep.
I mean, basically, everyone's seen a movie where there's a car chase who's like Gone in 60 Seconds or something like the original Gone in 60 Seconds. You've seen car chases. It's like, wow, went around. And this is just like, it's just like going the speed limit down the highway and it goes on and on and on. I don't remember exactly how long it went on. That was the first thing. And then, as you mentioned, it feeding into this was like the beginning of Court TV. Court
Yes.
TV as a cable station started just a little bit before this, and it
Yes.
was this like obscure niche channel that no one watched, right?
Right.
And but oh man, they glommed onto this and just wall to wall coverage and just this huge kind of event. And then I remember whatever year this was, I should have double checked that. Anyway, being in high school,
Hmm.
and when the trial was coming to a conclusion and they were going to announce the verdict, they
Yep.
say it wasn't like now we didn't have social media, we didn't have smartphones in our pockets, we didn't have cell phones.
Yep.
You my high school English teacher wheeled in the TV on the cart so that we
Same.
could watch the OJ verdict.
Same. I was also in English class, watched the OJ verdict in class. Yep.
I cannot think of another cultural event where something like that happened. Even at the time, I was a little bit surprised by it,
Yeah.
but it was like they knew that we were all going to be buzzing about it to such an extent anyway. They
Yeah.
might as well just lean into it. So,
We'll never see anything like it. There are plenty of things where you are reactionary, like 9/11, but we will never see another thing like this again, I don't think.
no, I don't. I mean, in the way it took over everything,
Yeah.
and also, you know, I joked about you not being an American, but of course, younger people weren't alive yet, so I
Right.
guess you can take that pass, still. But for people who didn't experience this, perhaps because they were out of the country or are 20 or younger or what have you, the way it took over everything, and from the beginning, it really felt like, oh well, he did it. Like,
Yeah.
like why is he running from the cops?
Yeah.
But he gets acquitted. You have the famous glove situation, but you also had a large number of people in this country who wanted to see him be acquitted, also tied in there with racism on the part of the police, and it's just this whole thing
Yeah.
where, as a cultural experience, the people who wanted to see him acquitted didn't necessarily think he didn't do it. It
Exactly.
was just
Exactly.
really,
And
um,
even to tie it back to another TV event, because of what happened with Rodney King, how that was displayed everywhere, how it made it to local news, made it to national news, made it to international news. Everyone knew about that, which directly fed into the defense strategy of how they got him off on this case, right?
yeah, just a couple years later that the
Yep.
OJ was occurring. Um, anyhow, focusing on the TV side of it, there's the OJ Made in America documentary, which is quite good.
Very
There are
good.
other things that people can check out along these lines. And if you weren't there, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was a professional football player, quite a good
Yep.
one. He was in
Very.
Hertz commercials. Remember the Hertz commercials?
Oh yeah. Sprinting through the airport.
The sort of second act, and then he was in the Naked Gun movie.
Oh yeah.
Um,
You
and
can, if you want to, you can go watch on YouTube every second of the OJ trial. I mean, they have them, YouTube videos,
oh,
1 to
really?
138 or whatever, 2 hours each or whatever they are, and you can go watch it all if you want to.
I can't imagine doing that.
No.
I mean, honestly, it was a bit much at the time. Like, it's just the constant coverage, but certainly a big deal. And someone was saying, and I think this is probably right, that this was actually the birth of the news ticker at the bottom of the
Yes,
screen.
I think that's right.
Um, I think that really, really caught on after 9/11, but because there was such a focus on OJ Simpson, what was going on, that then like CNN started running other news items across the bottom
Exactly.
because the mainstream
Or,
is
or when they
amazing.
had to cover other news items, they would run OJ ticker on the bottom of
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Anyway,
So
anyway, just wanted to revisit that. Yeah.
anyway, he died
Yep.
yesterday.
He died.